Bulger, and we're going to continue on mastering the basics of eQuest energy modeling. We're going to look at the detailed input mode for setting up space types and space uses. I'm going to skip over constructions to start us off because that can be quite detailed and involved and really something that the wizard modes are best for, but it is possible to do if you need to in this mode. So under internal loads, again, space types and space type inputs is where we're going to start. So I have my rectangular box. I'm going to go ahead and just walk us through double clicking on one of these spaces, all these input fields that are now available to us for each space. And I'm going to slow down a little bit here. I've been going pretty quickly before through some of the other different introduction videos. So for this space, we can actually see this space has many different tabs of properties associated with it. Everything red has been defined by the wizard mode or some format of this project. Essentially, red indicates where the user has made an input. And even if you specifically haven't set 250 BTUs a person, another input we specified picked that for this input. But either way, for each space, you can actually see there's basic specifications that allows us to understand if it's air conditioned, what the people density is, how much heat that person is putting off. The equipment, such as computers, light, plug loads, refrigerators, anything can be specified here, either directly as a power or as a power density. Infiltration, how leaky our building is, can be set by an air change, or it can be set by a bunch of other methods of defining inputs. And if you were to pick a different one, you would get different inputs that are available. Daylighting, the zone currently does not control the lights by any means, but we could turn that on if we wanted to set a location of a sensor and how the power would be reduced if the illuminance increased or decreased. Content, not a lot here, and lighting. Again, very similar to equipment. You can pick a power density of lights. You can pick the power of lights. You could pick a type if you really felt like it, and the schedule of when those lights turn on. Essentially, the main things about spaces that are useful are the lighting, which is the power density and the schedule of when it runs, the equipment, the power density and the schedule of when the equipment runs, making sure our building has the right leakage and when it is leaking. This is a default schedule that eQuest created for me for infiltration. I can tell because it says INF. And then on the basic specifications tab, the people density. So people, lights, plug loads. Those are the basic things about any space and any software. Something to note here as well is this window we're looking at, we can jump between thermal zones. So the same way we have the componentry on the left, I could just scroll through to the northeast. And even when this is highlighted up here, my mouse just clicked it and turned it blue. If I was to use the wheel on my web mouse, you can actually see I can scroll through the rooms. And on the left, it's actually highlighting in gray the room I am now on. This can be nice. It can also be a little overwhelming if you don't know that you're scrolling and suddenly things are changing. But this can be nice if you're looking at the lighting and you want to flip through all these and see which one is set to what watts a square foot. So that's the space detailed input. Previously we looked at spreadsheets, and we can see all of that same information we just looked at in a spreadsheet format. And so the beauty of eQuest is it's really trying to fit multiple ways of looking at inputs and working with users who may each work in a different way of understanding their building or specifying data. So here I can now actually see all the spaces occupancy only. If you recall, I had talked about 250 BTUs of heat per person. That's the same input we can see by double clicking right here. And to show you that it's related, if I was to make this one 200 and hit done, that changed 200. So if I was to change this one to 200, it shows up here. So again, there's no one way to input data. There's actually multiple ways, and whatever works for you is fine. So that's the difference between, so that's how you set internal loads. If you're looking for some defaults for different lights or plug loads, I would strongly not suggest using the built-in defaults of eQuest, and using ASHRAE 90.1 or Title 24 has space type inputs for people lighting plugs, all those things. But there are files and defaults in eQuest, and if you would like to know what those are, you can actually, let's see where those would be. I think if I pick a schedule first, oh no, it's not here. I think it's only on lighting. No, it's not even on lighting. Okay, I misspoke. But there are libraries. They're actually libraries of schedules. We haven't looked at schedules. So for all the inputs themselves, once you leave the wizard mode, to really know what's the right square foot a person, you're going to need to find a reference if you don't already have a good sense for what square feet per person should be in, say, an auditorium compared with an office. But again, those tables are available through either California's Energy Code for free or older versions of ASHRAE 90.1. So when we come back, we're going to look at some of the inputs for the air systems, very similar to this, and we'll do an overview of schedules real quick.